The bet that changed to live the alien market on Corin 6 was loud and full of smoke. Creatures from many worlds shouted prices, traded goods, and argued over useless junk. But Jacob, a human trader, wasn't there for fun. He just needed fuel. For his small ship hand to leave before the storms rolled in. Jacob didn't trust this place. The market had no rules. Only one thing mattered here. The old saying, a deal is a deal. He entered a small trading tent, pushed aside the curtain, and found a strange alien sitting inside. The creature had blue scales, 6 fingers, and eyes like black glass. He called himself Grotarn, a merchant of rare things. I need fuel, Jacob said. Nothing else. Grotarn smiled, showing sharp yellow teeth. Of course, but first. Let us play a quick game, just for fun. You and I give you fuel for free. I win, you owe me a favor. Agreed. Jacob frowned. He didn't like games. But he was short on credits, and his ship couldn't fly on fumes. Fine, Jacob said. Let's play. The game was strange. Cards with symbols he didn't know. Dice that changed shape mid-air. But somehow, Jacob kept winning. One round. Then another. Grotarn began to sweat. In the final round, the merchant stared at Jacob. His hands trembled. This is it. All or nothing. Jacob shrugged. Your game, not mine. The dice hit the table. Grotarn's eyes widened. You win. Jacob waited. So, the fuel? Grotarn didn't move. He looked. Broken. Then he reached under the table and pressed a button. A door behind him slid open. Out stepped a girl. She looked around 17. Thin, pale, with silver hair that reached her back. Her eyes were big and glowing softly. She wore a simple cloth dress and a metal collar. Around her neck, she is your prize, Grotarn said quietly. My daughter. I lost her in the game. Jacob stood up. What the hell are you talking about? The rules of the market, Grotarn whispered. You accepted the bet. I wagered something. You won. Now, she belongs to you. No, Jacob said, stepping back. I don't want her. I just needed fuel. Too late, Grotarn said. The market witnessed it. The bet was binding. Outside the tent, whispers had already started. Other merchants, buyers, and thugs gathered. Near the door, Human took her. Someone muttered. She's his now, another said. Rules are rules. The girl looked at Jacob. Her hands were shaking. She stepped forward slowly. Do I belong to you now? Jacob felt sick. No, this isn't right. You're a person, not property. Grotarn's eyes turned hard. You cannot undo the bet. Take her and leave, or face the anger of the market. More aliens crowded around. Some looked curious. Others looked hungry for trouble. I never agreed to take a person, Jacob said. You agreed to the bet, Grotarn snapped. You said the words. That's enough. Jacob knew the laws here were old and dangerous. If he refused, the crowd might turn on him. Humans weren't loved in this part of the galaxy. He looked at the girl again. Her eyes were full of fear, but also hope, like she didn't know what to expect from him. What's your name? Jacob asked softly. She didn't answer. Grow-tar, spoke instead. She has no name. Never needed one. Jacob clenched his fists. This wasn't just a bad bet. This was a trap. But walking away wasn't an option now. I'm not your master, Jacob told the girl, but I can't leave you here either. Come with me. The girl nodded once. As they left the tent, the crowd parted. Some sneered. Some stared. A few recorded everything with blinking red devices. She was promised to someone else, one alien whispered. That human has no idea what he's just. Taken, another hissed. Jacob led the girl back to his ship. She followed without speaking, like a ghost. When they entered the ship, Jacob finally breathed. "You can sit," he told her gently. "You're safe now." She sat down slowly. "Am I?" Jacob didn't answer. Because deep down, he wasn't sure. Outside the ship, lightning flashed across the dark sky. The alien market was quiet now. But Jacob knew the silence wouldn't. Last, someone was going to come for her, and when they did, he'd have to choose. A girl with no past. No name. Jacob woke up to silence. That was strange. His ship usually made quiet humming sounds during sleep mode. But now, it was too quiet. He sat up, heart beating fast. Then he remembered the girl. He rushed out of his bunk. She wasn't in the seat where he had left her. He checked the control. Room. Empty. The storage bay. Empty. Panic hit him like a cold. Wave, did she run away, or did someone take her? But then he saw the glow. A soft silver light flickered from the engine room. He stepped in slowly. She was standing there. Barefoot, her hands hovering near the ship's power core. The core should have been locked, but somehow it had opened for her. It glowed blue but changed to white wherever her fingers touched it. "What are you doing?" Jacob asked, voice low. She didn't turn. "I wasn't trying to break it," she whispered. "It sings. It reminds me of something. I don't know what." Jacob stepped closer, gently. "That's dangerous equipment. It could hurt you." She finally looked at him. "I wasn't afraid." Jacob stared into her eyes, pale silver. Strange, alien but beautiful. She looked innocent, but something about her felt ancient. "What's your name?" he asked again. "I don't have one," she said. "Everyone has a name." "Not me," she said. "Grotar never gave me one. He said I didn't need it. Just a collar." Jacob frowned. "Do you remember your mother?" She shook her head. "He said she died when I was born." He noticed how thin she was. She hadn't eaten in days. She didn't act like a normal teenage girl. She didn't move like one either. Too quiet. To light on her feet. Jacob sighed. "Come on. You need food." She followed him to the small kitchen area. He heated a protein pack and placed it in front of her. She stared at it for a while. "You don't trust it?" he asked. "I just don't remember how it tastes," she said. Jacob sat across from her. "You don't talk much. I was never allowed to." He leaned back. "Why did Grotarn offer you in a bet?" She looked away. "Because he wanted to get rid of me, and he thought no one would win, but I did." "Yes," she said softly, "you won me." Jacob didn't like that word. "You're not a prize. You're a person." She didn't answer. Just took a small bite of the food. After a while, she spoke again. "You're the first person who hasn't hurt me." Jacob looked at her collar again. It was made of dark metal with glowing marks, alien symbols. Not from any system he recognized. "Can I take that off?" he asked, reaching for it. She jerked back, eyes wide. "No, it's locked. Only Grotarn had the code. If you try to force it, it'll shock me." Jacob sat back. "Of course it does," he muttered. He made a decision. "We're going to get that thing off. I'll find someone." She blinked. "Why?" "Because I don't keep people in chains." He said. Something changed in her eyes. A flicker of light, like hope, then an alarm beeped. Jacob ran to the cockpit. A red signal flashed on the screen. A ship was approaching. Fast, and it wasn't friendly. "Looks like someone noticed you're gone," he said. She stood behind him. "It's him, Grotarn." "No," she said. "Someone worse." Jacob checked the signal again. "Heavy weapons. Not a merchant ship. Can you fly?" She asked. "Obviously," he said. "Strap in." They blasted off, engines roaring as They soared into orbit. The ship behind them opened fire. Jacob cursed and twisted the controls. The girl held on tightly, eyes wide. "Do you know who that is?" Jacob asked. She nodded. "I was promised to someone. A noble, a baron. He paid Grotarn years ago, but Grotarn never delivered. And now he wants what he paid for," Jacob said, teeth clenched. They weaved through space debris. The enemy ship stayed close. The girl touched the controls. "Let me help." D. Pulled her hand back. No offense, but unless you're a pilot, she pressed a panel. Lit up with symbols Jacob had never seen. The ship jerked, then moved faster. Jacob stared. "What did you just do?" "I don't know. It just worked." The enemy ship began to fall behind. Jacob smiled, even though he was sweating. "You've got secrets, huh?" She looked at him. "So do you." He laughed softly. "Maybe. But right now, we just survived. That's enough." They drifted into quiet space, far from the market. Jacob turned to her. "You don't have a name, but you should." She tilted her head. "You want to name me?" "No. I want you to choose your own." She was quiet. Then she said, "I'll think about it." Jacob nodded. "Fair enough." Outside the window, stars blinked in silence. But danger wasn't far, and Jacob knew. This was only the beginning. Her price was too high, the stars were calm. But inside the ship, Jacob couldn't rest. He stared at the girl, now asleep on the medical bunk. Her breathing was slow, peaceful, but the metal collar on her neck still glowed faintly, reminding him she was not free. Not yet. Jacob had questions too many. Who was she really? Why was she important enough for armed ships to chase her through space? And why did alien symbols on his ship respond to her touch when they hadn't worked in years? He rubbed his eyes. "I need answers," he muttered. Just then, the ship's system beeped. "Incoming transmission." Jacob hesitated. He tapped the screen. A shadowy figure appeared, a wide face, gold eyes, skin like cracked stone. It was not Grotarn, human. The voice growled, "You have something that belongs to me." Jacob crossed his arms. "I don't owe anyone anything." "She was paid for," the alien hissed. "Promised. Stolen. You will return her, or be hunted." Jacob didn't flinch. "I didn't steal her. I won her." The alien's voice turned cold. "She was not Grotarn's to give. She is mine." The signal cut. Jacob stood still. That wasn't a threat. It was a promise. The girl woke up soon after. Her eyes opened slowly, like she'd heard every word in her sleep. "They found us," she whispered. Jacob nodded. "Who was that?" She sat up. Her face was calm, but her voice shook. "His name is Baron Korloth. He rules a region of space near the outer ring. He buys rare things, especially ones that can't be copied, like you." "Yes." She said, "Grotarn made a deal with him when I was a child. The Baron paid a fortune. Then Grotarn changed his mind and hid me." Jacob stared. "Why would Grotarn hide you?" He seemed like the kind of alien who only cared about profit. Girl touched her collar. "Because he learned what I really am." Jacob waited. "I'm not just his daughter. I'm a hybrid," she said softly. "Part of me comes from something older than Grotarn, something not alive anymore." Jacob raised an eyebrow. "What are you talking about?" She pointed to the ship's old systems, the ones with strange alien symbols. "Those are not human. Not from your Earth, not even from the current empires. They're ancient. Most can't use them, but I can. My blood unlocks them." Jacob blinked. "That's why the ship moved faster when you touched it." She nodded. "Grotarn found out by accident. One day, I touched a relic. It glowed. He ran tests. He found traces in my DNA, something lost for thousands of years. Something the Baron collects. So you're valuable, Jacob said slowly. She looked away. I'm not a person to them. I'm a tool, a key. Jacob clenched. His jaw. You're not a key. You're a girl who deserves to be free. She looked at him, eyes wide. Then why haven't you removed the collar? I'm trying, he snapped. Then he calmed his voice. Sorry, I just need to find someone who can crack it without hurting you. She nodded. I believe you. The screen beeped again. Another signal, not from the Baron. This time, it was local. A small outpost nearby was accepting landings, no questions asked. Jacob didn't like it, but they needed repairs, supplies. And maybe someone there could help with the collar. Strap in, he told her. We're landing. The outpost was built into a hollow asteroid. Dark tunnels, shady people, flickering lights. The kind of place where secrets were sold by the kilo. They walked in side by side. Jacob kept his hand near his weapon. The girl wore a cloak over her collar. Still, heads turned. Eyes followed. A hunched alien with glowing arms offered to remove the collar for a price Jacob paid. But when the alien scanned her, he paused, then stepped back, terrified. I won't touch. That, the alien muttered. That's tech from the first builders. Who? Jacob asked. But the alien was already gone. Jacob looked at the girl. She was shivering. Let's go, he said. Before they reached the ship, another figure blocked their path. A tall alien with silver armor and gold eyes. The same one from the screen. Baron Korloth. He smiled at the girl. You ran far, little one. She didn't move. Her hands trembled. Jacob stepped in front of her. She's not yours. Korloth laughed softly. You think this is a rescue. You have no idea what you're holding, human. Her price is 2. High. Even your life won't cover it. Guards appeared behind the Baron. Weapons charged. Jacob's heart pounded. This wasn't just about a lost girl anymore. This was war over something ancient. Powerful and alive. He whispered, run when I say so. She nodded. He grabbed her hand. Then the first shot was fired. Run, human. Run. The first laser shot missed Jacob's head by inches. He didn't wait for the next one. Run, he shouted, grabbing the girl's hand. Blasters lit the air as they raced through the metal tunnels of the asteroid outpost. Behind them, Baron Korloth's guards roared commands in alien languages. Their footsteps growing louder. Jacob didn't know this place well, but he knew one rule. The outpost had no loyalty. No one here would protect them. Everyone just wanted to survive or get rich. And right now, Jacob and the girl were worth a lot of credits. They ducked into a narrow hallway, past crates stacked high with old parts. Sparks flew overhead as another shot hit the wall beside them. She's mine. The Baron's voice echoed behind them. No one steals from me. Jacob pulled the girl behind a broken power generator. Can you keep running? She nodded, though her breath came in short gasps. Her cloak was torn, and her collar was blinking faster now, like it sensed danger. We need to get back to the ship, he said. There's a shortcut, she whispered. This way. She darted left. Surprising him, Jacob followed, unsure how she knew the layout, but she was right. Within moments, they reached a maintenance shaft. She opened the panel without touching anything, as if the door responded to her presence alone. They slid down the dark chute and landed near the docking bay. Jacob's ship was there, but so were the Baron's men. 4 guards surrounded the ramp. One of them spotted them. They're here. Jacob didn't stop to think. He pulled out his pulse pistol and fired 2 quick shots. One guard fell, another dove for cover. Go. Jacob shouted to the girl. She ran for the ship as he covered her. A guard lunged at her, but she twisted, ducked low, and kicked his knee. He dropped to the floor with a scream. She reached the ramp. Jacob followed, firing one last shot before slamming the ship's door shut behind them. Inside, alarms blared. Jacob jumped into the pilot's seat. Hold on. The ship rose, metal groaning beneath it. Outside, the Baron's voice came through the radio. If you take off, I'll follow you to the ends of the galaxy. Jacob answered, then start walking. The engines roared, and they blasted out of the docking bay into cold, black space. But they weren't alone. The Baron's warship followed, larger and faster. It fired green plasma bolts, barely missing their tail. Jacob gritted his teeth. We can't outrun him in a straight line. The girl stood behind him, gripping the seat tightly. There's a nebula nearby, purple mist. It blocks sensors. You sure? I've seen it before. A Crotarn took me there once. Jacob didn't question her. Then guide me. They swerved between broken satellites and asteroid chunks. The Baron stayed close, closing the gap. Jacob's hands flew across the controls. I need more power to the engines. Try the override panel, she said. He did, but nothing happened. Then she stepped forward and placed her hand on the panel. It glowed again. The ship jerked, then surged forward like it had been reborn. Jacob laughed in shock. I need your touch on everything from now on. The nebula appeared ahead, cloud of swirling purple gas and lightning. Into the storm, Jacob said. They plunged in. Everything turned purple and dark. Static filled the controls. Lights flickered. The Baron's ship entered right behind them, but now the sensors began to fail. Jacob flew blind, using only instinct. Left. The girl cried. Right. Up now. She seemed to feel the flow of the nebula, guiding him through paths. Unseen behind them, the Baron's ship struggled. Then dash boom, a flash of light. Jacob turned the ship in time to see the warship crash into a floating energy field. It spun, lost power, and vanished into the mist. They were safe. For now, Jacob slowed the ship. Silence returned. Only the hum of the engines remained. He turned to the girl. That was insane. She smiled, small and tired. But it worked. Looked at her differently now. How do you know all this stuff? The maps, the controls, even the nebula. She looked down. It's like it's inside me. I don't know how, but things come to me when I need them. Jacob leaned back. You're not just a hybrid. You're something else. She touched her collar, and I think thing is holding it back. Jacob stood. It's time we find someone who can remove it properly. She nodded. Where will we go? He looked at the stars. There's a moon. Quiet. Far out. I know someone there. She used to deal in rare tech. Maybe she'll know how to break that collar. The girl's voice turned soft. Do you trust her? Jacob didn't answer for a moment. Then, I trust her more than I trust anyone else. She smiled. Then, let's go. The ship turned away from the nebula, engines burning steady, but far behind them, in the purple storm, Baron Korloth's ship flickered then powered back on. The hunt wasn't over. Not yet. The truth about Ura, the old moon, hung like a broken pearl in the sky. It had no name, just a number BX117, a place forgotten by the stars. Jacob's ship landed near the edge of a deep crater. Dust rose around the landing struts, and silence followed inside the ship. The girl stared out the window. This place feels quiet, she whispered. Jacob nodded. It's where I used to hide things I didn't want found. He powered down the engines and looked at her. Time to meet someone who owes me a favor. The girl followed him outside. The ground was soft. The sky tinted green, and in the distance stood a tall structure, half buried in the moon's surface. It was shaped like a tower, but pieces of it looked melted or grown. Like it wasn't built with normal tools. They entered through a wide door carved from dark stone. Inside, the air smelled like metal and old books. Then, voice echoed from the shadows. "Jacob Varel, I thought you were dead." A woman stepped out of the darkness. She was tall, with gray streaks in her black hair and a long cloak that shimmered like oil. Her eyes were sharp, too sharp. "Still alive," Jacob said. "Nice to see you, Dea." She looked at the girl. "And who's this?" "She needs your help," Jacob said. "That collar, it's killing her slowly." Dea stepped closer. "That's first builder tech. You shouldn't be wearing it, child." "I didn't choose to," the girl said softly. Dea's expression softened a little. "What's your name?" The girl paused, then said, "Yura." Jacob looked at her in surprise. "You picked a name." She nodded. It felt right. Dea led them deeper inside the tower. The walls were lined with strange devices, blinking. Slowly, humming with old energy, they stopped in a room filled with glowing machines. Dea scanned. "Dura." Her eyes widened. "You're not just first builder. Blood, you're something rarer. The collar isn't just tracking you, it's suppressing you." "What does that mean?" Jacob asked. Dea turned to him. "It means she was designed grown, maybe even engineered to be a key. A living access code to things the universe has forgotten." Jacob frowned. "She said she could control systems. Even mine." Dea nodded. "That's only the beginning." She looked at Yura. "If I remove the collar, you may change. The part of you that's been sleeping might wake up." Yura didn't look scared. "I want to know who I really am." Dea began her work. She used old tools and soft lights. She whispered to the collar in a language neither Jacob nor Yuru understood. The collar hissed. Yuru winced, but didn't cry out. Finally, click. The collar released and fell to the floor. The lights in the room flickered. Yura gasped. Her body trembled, and her eyes glowed brighter than ever before. Silver lines pulsed across her skin like energy veins. The air felt charged. Then it passed. She stood tall. "I remember something," she said quietly. "Not everything. Just images." "Of what?" Jacob asked. "A great machine," she said. "Sleeping beneath a red sea. I was there once, not with my body, but with my mind. Someone called me a heir of access. I think I was made to wake the machine." Dea stepped back, stunned. "That confirms it. She's a relic child. One of a few created from first builder code. The Baron must want her to control ancient Tekopan vaults, power ships, maybe even command old weapons." Jacob stared at Yura. "So she's, what? A living password." "More than that," Dea said. "She can bond with technology that no one else can touch. She's priceless." Yura looked down. "Then why do I feel empty?" Jacob placed a hand on her shoulder. "Because you weren't born to be used. You were born to choose." A moment passed in silence. Then a new sound filled the tower, an alarm. Dea ran to a screen. "No," she whispered. "He followed you." On the monitor, Baron Korloff's ship appeared. It hovered just above the moon's surface. "Armed. Ready," Jacob cursed. "How did he find us?" Yura stepped forward. "He must have traced the collar signal before it was removed." "We need to leave," Jacob said. "No," Yura replied. "We need to face him." Jacob looked at her. "You're not ready." She looked at her hands, still glowing faintly. "Maybe not. But I won't run forever." Dea opened a hidden door. "There's an escape path beneath the tower. but it only fits one person. Jacob shook his head. We're not splitting up. Yura stared at the tower walls. What if I wake something here? Something older than him. Daya's eyes narrowed. You mean the core? Yura nodded. I can feel it under us. Jacob looked between them. Is that a weapon? Daya whispered. It's older than weapons. Yura turned to him. Do you trust me? Jacob didn't hesitate. Yes. Placed her hand on the center of the floor. The stone glowed, and the tower began to hum. Break the rules. Break the chain. The tower woke up. It started with a hum. Then the walls began to glow, as if old veins of light had returned to life after a long sleep. Jacob stepped back. What is this place? He whispered. Yu, our stood in the center of the glowing floor. Her eyes were silver, now shining like stars, trapped in her body. Her hair floated slightly as if pulled by invisible energy. Daya watched in silence. The core was built by the first builders long before our time. They used it to store their knowledge, their power. But only a chosen one could unlock it. Jacob glanced at Yura, and she's the chosen one. Daya nodded. She's the key. She always was. Suddenly, the tower shook. Outside. Baron Korlath's ship had landed. He was coming. Yura looked at Jacob. I have to go deeper, to the heart of the tower. I think I can stop him. Jacob moved closer. Not alone. She smiled softly. Can't come with me. The path opens only to me. It speaks in my blood. He didn't like it. But he trusted her. I'll hold him off, he said. You go. Do what you were born to do. She nodded stepped into the beam of light in the center of the room. The floor opened, forming a spiral staircase glowing white. Yura began to descend into the ancient depths. Jacob turned to Daya. How long until she unlocks it? I don't know, she said. She could become something new. Or burn trying. He pulled out his weapon. Then we buy her time. Outside. The tower door blasted open. Baron Korlath entered, flanked by armored guards. He walked slowly, like a man already sure of victory. I smell her, he said. The girl, she's here. Jacob stepped forward, weapon raised. She's not yours. Korlath's gold eyes narrowed. You don't understand. She is part of a system older than stars. She has no right to choose her path. She was built to serve one purpose, mine. You're wrong, Jacob said. She was born with a heart and a mind. Then she will suffer for it. Korlath raised his hand. Kill the human. Before the guards fired, Daya triggered a defense field. Walls of blue light flared between them and the attackers. Jacob fired through a gap. One guard fell. The others scattered. Korlath growled. You think this will stop me? No, Jacob said. But it's enough for now. Below, Yura stepped into the heart of the tower. The chamber was huge and round, filled with floating crystals and machines that hovered without support. Symbols glowed across the walls, symbols. She suddenly understood. They weren't just letters, they were instructions. She placed her hand on a tall, black pillar. The room responded. Visions filled her mind. She saw planets rising and falling, ships flying with no engines, stars moving like pieces on a board. And then she saw herself, standing alone at the center of it all. The voice spoke again, a voice from nowhere, calm and old. Confirm identity. I am Yura, she said. I am the child of Grotarn. I am also more. Blood signature confirmed, the voice said. Do you accept the legacy? Yura hesitated, then said, yes. A pulse of light exploded from the pillar. Her body lifted off the ground. She didn't scream. She didn't fear. She remembered everything, asterisk above. Jacob ducked behind a wall as a plasma blast tore past his head. Dea recharged her weapon and shouted, "They're breaking through." "Not yet," Jacob growled. "We hold." The floor began to shake again. This time, it wasn't from weapons. It was coming from below. A beam of white light shot up from the tower's center and blasted through the roof. Korloth turned, eyes wide. No, she's waking it. Inside the chamber, Yura floated in the air, surrounded by symbols and light. A voice spoke again, now deeper. "Legacy transfer complete. New access granted." Yura landed on her feet. Her eyes burned like twin moons. She was different now, stronger, wiser. She walked back up the stairs, step by step, as if the tower itself carried her forward. At the top, she appeared before Korloth. He stared at her. "You don't know what you've done." "I know exactly what I've done," she said. He raised his weapon. "You belong to me." She raised her hand, and his weapon turned to dust. He stepped back. "What are you?" "I am not yours," she said, "and I never was." Korloth lunged forward. She didn't move. The tower moved for her. A pulse of energy struck the Baron, lifting him into the air. He screamed, then vanished in a burst of white light. Silence followed. Jacob stood slowly, staring at her. "Yura?" She looked at him. "I remember everything now. My purpose, my design. But I still have a choice." He smiled. "What will you choose?" She reached out her hand. "You?" She belonged to no one. The tower was silent now. No glowing walls, no voices from ancient machines. Only a soft hum remained, like the last breath of something older than time. Yura stood at the top of the spiral steps. The light around her faded slowly, but her eyes still glowed silver. Jacob looked at her carefully. "Are you still you?" She nodded, but her voice was softer. "Yes, I remember who I was. And who I am now." She walked toward him, her steps light, almost floating. Dea lowered her weapon slowly, watching her with awe and fear. Jacob stepped forward. "What happened down there?" Yura touched her chest. "The core accepted me. It gave me its knowledge. Not commands, not orders, just understanding." Dea whispered, "So what will you do with it?" Yura looked at her hands. "Nothing, for now. I don't want power. I just wanted freedom." Jacob smiled. "Then you've earned it." They stood in the ruins of something ancient, yet something beautiful. The tower, now quiet, seemed at peace too, as if it had been waiting for someone like her all this time. Suddenly, the silence was broken. A small alert beeped from Jacob's ship nearby. He rushed to check the console. A message blinked on the screen. "Galactic Union transmission. Live broadcast." He tapped it. A hologram appeared in the air. Dozens of alien leaders, news reporters, voices speaking over each other, and then Baron Korloth's face. But it was different. He wasn't standing proud anymore. He was on his knees, surrounded by Union guards. A voice spoke. "Baron Korloth is under arrest for illegal trafficking, war crimes, and violating ancient code treaties. Evidence has surfaced of his dealings, including the attempted capture of a living hybrid key." Jacob and Yura exchanged a look. "They know," she said. Dea crossed her arms. "And the galaxy just changed." Asterisk. Later that night, they sat by a small fire near the crater. Stars blinked above them, cold and distant. Jacob poured water into a cup and handed it to Yura. "So, what now?" She took the cup and stared into the flames. "I don't want to hide anymore, but I don't want to be a tool either." "You don't have to be either," Jacob said. "You can just live." She smiled at him. With you? He nodded. If you'll have me. She leaned her head against his shoulder. I want to see Earth, your planet. Jacob laughed quietly. It's noisy and messy. But yeah, we'll go. Dea approached slowly. You'll be hunted, she warned. Not just by the greedy, but by the curious. Governments, scientists, even old enemies of the first builders. Yura stood up and faced her. Let them come. I'm not afraid anymore. Dea studied her face, then smiled. You've changed. Yura nodded. Because someone gave me a choice. She looked at Jacob. He didn't say anything. He didn't have to asterisk the next morning. They left the moon behind. The stars ahead were wide open. Jacob's ship was quiet, flying smooth, as if even the engines respected the girl now standing at its heart. She walked the halls of the ship like she belonged. No collar? No. No chains. Just freedom. Jacob checked the navigation. Next stop, Earth. Hra sat beside him, watching the stars. Back there, she said softly, when I stood in the core. I could have done anything. Taken control of weapons, fleets, maybe even ruled. But you didn't, Jacob said. No, she said. Because power taken by force is still a chain. Jacob turned to her. You're stronger than you know. She smiled. Maybe, but I don't want to be a goddess. I just want to be someone. You are, Jacob said. You're Yura. That's enough. The stars stretched around them, like rivers of light, and in the quiet hum of the ship, she whispered something to herself. I belonged to no one. And now, I finally belong to myself. Jacob heard her and smiled. Asterisk, far away in a dark chamber on a distant world. Other eyes watched old machines powered on, ancient symbols lit up. A voice cold, cracked with time spoke from the shadows. She has awakened. Another voice answered, calm and deep. Then the cycle begins again. The lights dimmed and the stars shifted. But Yura did not look back. She looked forward because her story, the story of the girl once traded in a bet, was only just beginning.